Thank you. So the first two questions are, I think, quite similar. What will happen if the agreement is violated by Rwanda? And the second question, which goes in the same direction, is that it's not the first time that Rwanda and the DRC have signed an agreement and also committed to contributing to mechanisms. Again, what is different this time? So I will just merge the two and answer them. I think we had a very fruitful meeting at the White House today, and I think it was very clear, again, by the commitment that has been demonstrated by the United States of America throughout this process, that one of the big differences that we have with this agreement is that we have a facilitator, we have a party that is championing this agreement, that is also determined to see it materialize, and that is determined to hold us accountable. So, of course, the question, and it's totally legitimate from a Congolese point of view to ask the question, what will happen if the agreement is violated by Rwanda? But again, it's a binding agreement for all stakeholders, including for the DRC. So we will all be held to the same standards. And I think it's very important. And this was also one of my key messages to President Donald J. Trump today at the White House. It was, first of all, thank you and congratulations for making this happen. But second of all, please remain committed, because it is precisely this political traction that is necessary to hold us all accountable. So this may be one of the differences that we have in this agreement, a country that has decided to put the full weight of its diplomatic apparatus to make sure that the agreement yields something tangible. The other aspect is also the fact that in the different mechanisms that are foreseen to be put in place, these are not mechanisms that will solely concern the DRC and Rwanda, but actually integrate the participation of other stakeholders, including the United States of America, including the AU, which again raises the level of accountability to a different one, and again puts pressure on all stakeholders to honor their commitments. There was then a question about the economic agreements, and precisely we have not spoken about economic agreements today because the peace agreement does not provide or does not contain economic or mining provisions. And I think it's very important here to understand that we have been very transparent on this issue, on sequencing of our efforts and of our commitments. We cannot expect to have long-lasting peace, to have successful economic perspectives, if the key issues of territorial integrity, protection of civilians, humanitarian access, the return of the legitimate state authority are not addressed. This is not an environment that is viable for any kind of economic investment or for any kind of economic agreement. And so it's important to also understand the fact that there is a very clear and deliberate sequencing here. We're focusing first on restoring state authority. We're focusing first on putting an end to hostilities. We're focusing first on making sure that we regain full control over our sovereign territory. And then, of course, as anywhere else on earth, business can happen. Economic contracts or deals can be signed. But first and foremost, we need to make sure that these aspects are taken into account and materialize. And I think it's very important here to highlight the fact that the element of economic regional integration was always a driving factor in President Félix Antoine Tshisekedi's regional approach to peace and stability within the Great Lakes region, not just with Rwanda, but with all our neighbors. It was his first priority when he was voted into office in 2018 and took office in 2019, to make sure that we build solid relationships with all our neighboring countries, including through economic integration, through strategic integration. And so we're very happy to see that through peace, we can start also gradually looking at these issues. Of course, we have to be cognizant of the realities on the ground. We have to be cognizant of the sensitivities on the ground. And certain things will take longer time because there is a minimum of trust that you need to reestablish before going over to business. And so we will see that these efforts towards regional economic integration will start to take shape peu à peu, also hand in hand with a tracking of how the peace agreement itself is being implemented. And I believe that we have seen it elsewhere. It is a tried and tested recipe to overcome in a long-lasting manner conflict by integrating markets, by bringing people closer together. But of course, this cannot be done without recognition of the human dimension that is at the core of making this vision come to life. So, as I said, we are focusing first and foremost on the peace agreement that will lay the foundation for any economic agreement that is to come. And that includes economic agreements at the regional level, but also at the bilateral level, including with partners such as the United States of America. Thank you.